Hey Hannah, where's your wedding ring?
It's in the joy box. My fingers get cold this time of year, so
Yeah, health is a big reason why we kind of chose this lifestyle.
yeah.
Get in here and start cracking some eggs for you. Although,
Get another bowl.
makes more sense
No,
for
put it.
me.
Yeah, put it into this bowl. This is the bowl we're gonna mix it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now everybody, one hand.
I can never do the one hand thing. I'm not that skilled.
The crack is important.
Yeah, that's true.
But
You don't want a ton of tiny little baby cracks. You want okay. Yeah. You want one big hefty crack. I was just reminiscing about how I used to eat Lucky Charms in college.
I remember those days. Lucky Charms on top of your ice cream.
Yep. My parents did a pretty good job of trying to keep me away from sugar. But one birthday party, and that was it. Basically. They would dehydrate fruit for me and everything, but that sugar, it's got a strong hold. It's pretty addictive.
That's gonna work.
But growing up eating cereal and oatmeal for breakfast, although quick, I never felt full. And still, even if I just eat oatmeal only, which I'll soak it overnight, I'll just add water to the pot and leave the pot out overnight. Not cooking it, but just let it sit until I'm ready to cook it in the morning. But even that, I've noticed I have to really have protein and carbs together at the same time for my breakfast. And growing up on a farm myself, I always had eggs on hand, so I'm not sure why we didn't eat that many eggs. I was probably just really a picky eater at that point.
These nice pasture raised eggs, nice almost orange looking yolk.
Mm-hmm.
One of the funny things, I should have done this before, but one of the funny things about a good yolk, guys tells you should be able to really kind of toss it around and it will keep its integrity.
Mm.
We need salt and pepper, we forgot that.
Yeah, you want to grab that? I'll keep mixing them.
Alright, so tell us what you're making and what are all the other things on the table.
So, I'm making an egg casserole ahead of time for myself, basically, and the kids. I don't do well in the morning if I don't eat right away. So, if I'm trying to make this when I'm hungry in the morning, it just isn't going to happen. So, I try my best. My general rule of thumb with cooking in general is make things ahead of time in bulk. Now, I'm not doing the whole frozen lasagna thing, but if I make this ahead of time, cook it, we'll bake it, cut it up and slice it, wrap it up, freeze it, then I just have to pull it out and warm it up in the toaster oven in the morning, and that's a lot easier than having to think about all of this. So it's gonna have obviously my eggs, greens, cheese, here's peppers that we grew this year. I just cut them up. I pre-cut them up when I harvest them and then just throw them in the bag and then thaw them. So I'm gonna saute these with my onions and garlic. So all this stuff we grow ourselves, which is nice. These you have to freeze. You cannot really can them unless you pickle them. So that's why I freeze them.
And
although freezer space is very valuable in our household because of all the meat we raise. So I try my best to can as much as I can or whatever. But
can you tell us about your source of meat and
yeah, so
where?
Last week I did sausage. This week a couple days ago we had a big pork shoulder roast that we made and we invited my parents over to eat with us. So we made that, ate it the next day. The bone we used to make broth because it still has some really good nutrients in it, which I actually, where did I put that? Where's the broth?
Oh,
But I put it in the crock pot again, just the bone with some water to really pull out all of the collagen. And
so you can see
it's really good.
how gelatinous this is, and then some of the fat settled on top.
Which fat is necessary for your brain. So low fat. There's good fat and there's bad fat, right? So good fat, animal sources.
Good fat.
Grass-fed butter, fat from, this is pork in this case, tallow.
So a lot of the collagen from this actually came from chicken broth that we made. We make our own stock. We added, actually, did we add any to the roast?
We did add that to the roast, yeah.
Okay.
When we cooked it originally.
And then, that what came from the pork shoulder bone. You can see just how jelly-like that is.
Right.
Should get a close-up of that.
Yeah.
Right, so
I'm gonna start
we pulled off the bone, or the meat from the bone, and then
I'm gonna saute this.
we took the bone and put the bone in the crock pot overnight and put it on low, and even kept it for several hours into the next day, and then threw in the ingredients for split pea soup. Now this has been in the refrigerator, so it's a little hard. And what I'm doing is pulling the bone out of here. You can kind of see one part of the bone there. So we put it in the crock pot because we wanted to pull out as much as possible prior to making the soup. We wanted to pull out as much of the collagen and nutrients out of the bone. So we covered it with water and then used that water to help soak the beans. Of course, we threw a little bit more water and chicken stock in there, but that was good.
A lot of times I'll just drink bone broth too. If I need a protein source, I'll warm up some, dilute it with a little bit of water, and add some fermented miso paste to it for flavor. And that gives me about 20 to 30 grams of protein, which is basically what I need for one meal.
We made a roast Sunday night.
Yeah.
We had
Today's Wednesday.
your parents over. We ate a full meal off of that.
Yep, 6 people.
We took the bone. We made a giant pot of soup with leftovers for that. We had leftovers twice.
And now we have meat for the casserole.
And now there's meat for the casserole.
It was like, what, a 6 pound? Was it a 6 pound?
Yeah, it was a 7-pound roast. And then we've got this broth that we have extracted, and we're going to make another soup out of this. Mm-hmm. Because this... Did you try that flavor?
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, that was expecting.
Even though it's cold, it's good.
It's great.
Yeah.
So this makes so many meals. Just repurposing things and adding to it, and
why do the work twice when I could, like, my big thing is I have leftovers the next day for lunch. So I make sure that when I'm cooking for dinner, I make enough food for us to eat for dinner and for lunch the next day that just needs to be reheated, because I like having a warm meal for lunch. I'm not big on sandwiches. I'm gluten-free too, so I don't like to have to buy gluten-free bread for sandwiches all the time. So for me, that's the easiest thing for me to cut down on time, because I'm already cooking, so I just add a little bit of extra quantity while I'm cooking, and then I have enough for 2 meals out of that. And the other thing I wanted to mention too was I'm currently relearning eating in a way that nourishes my body. I think a lot of people eat just to satisfy that desire for food, that hunger, but really we need to be eating to fuel and nourish our body, what our body needs. And it may not be something that we like, it may not be palatable. Oftentimes it is, though. I was going to saute that, but that's okay.
Whoops.
It's all good. It'll still be cooked in the casserole. And let me add those peppers in.
A little extra garlicky.
Yeah, I'm going to add those peppers in too. So.
And we do like cooking together. We're not one of those stay out of the kitchen. Goodness, I don't know what we would accomplish if we didn't help each other out.
Yeah.
So much.
It's basically after having our youngest, I have not been able to really get much work done in the garden. So it's kind of just been whatever I can do, when I can do it, and get what I can out of it. But still, a lot of it is very simple. You know, pick the peppers, cut them up, stick them in a freezer bag, boom, done. You know, very, very easy. Something that is doable for me because I have 2 little kids and not a lot of time and not a lot of energy. And I keep myself busy with other things. So my biggest thing is, what can I do that will benefit me the most with the least amount of effort, I guess, is a way to put it.
Yeah. So the crock pot becomes very useful in that regard because, yeah, it takes a minute to put things together, sure, but then we've got several meals,
Yeah.
and you don't have to stand by and do all of this extra work.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we pretty much try to cook everything from scratch, all whole foods,
Yeah.
as much as
Basically,
possible, organic and non-GMO.
If it comes from a box, I try not to eat it, basically.
Not that we don't. You know, somebody gave me a box of Entenmann donuts the other day, and gotta say, I've got a sweet tooth from my childhood. My dad operated a convenience store, so I like to snack a little bit. But I gotta tell you the truth, I had a couple of those donuts, and I don't know if it was only that, but I just wasn't feeling right. I felt a little sluggish, kind of lethargic. It messed up my gut. And that's kind of what we've learned living a healthier lifestyle. Hannah and I have been together for 14 years. We've been married for 10, we dated for 4, 3, and we were engaged for 1 year. We just have had a long process of getting to where we are, but
and we still have a ways to go.
But we're very fulfilled and thankful for this way of living. I mean, simple things just like smelling fragrances on other people. Sometimes both have a sensitivity to that. You can smell something on somebody else, like, ooh, that's a synthetic chemical.
Clothes.
That's not a natural
or in
scent.
clothes, if you get it at the thrift store.
Yeah,
I tend to.
getting thrifted clothes. Some people are gonna look at this and say, "Oh my gosh, that's a disgusting pant." Yeah,
You're not wrong.
we do need to deep clean some of our cookware. That's for sure. We live in a pretty small place. We were actually just looking at some of our pots and pans that are in storage that we haven't used. And we've got some really nice cookware. And honestly,
I think that's enough cheese.
in the future, I would add the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not big on cheese, but I eat it because it's good for me.
Mixed in. Now, did you want to add some of your bread to this?
Yes, I did.
Now, earlier, Hannah said she makes this for herself and for the kids. I, frankly, don't really eat breakfast in the morning. It's something that I found I just don't really need, and I think it helps me to have better self-control with the consumption of food or just other areas of my life. If I can kind of fast for the morning and then just start eating at lunchtime, for me, that's what I prefer. With the exception being somebody offers me food or we're going somewhere for breakfast or whatever, I'll eat typically, which actually makes it rather nice because I'm not used to eating breakfast. So to have a nice big breakfast is the occasional treat. Looks like it needs more eggs.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna go check the coop for more eggs.
I don't want to wander all the way out there right now.
Yeah.
But
it should probably be okay. I'll probably be fine.
There's no harm in throwing a few more eggs. We can put some more milk in there too if you need.
Yeah,
Want to crack a few more eggs in it? And no, we don't have our own dairy producing animals. Not yet, at least. So as much as possible, we'll try to get either raw milk from our friend or try to get the organic grass-fed milk. We think it tastes much better and it's more nutritious.
I'm wondering if I should put some Italian seasoning in this.
Italian seasoning? I could see that.
I like to put that in everything. It's just a good blend of things. I'm gonna put more salt. Want to grab me the Italian seasoning real quick?
Yeah, if I can recall where we...
It's right there on the bottom. No, on the wall. Yeah.
Oh.
Thanks. Now, last time I made this, it was a little overcooked, so I want to make sure I don't do that this time. But 325. You want to pick it for 325?
Yep.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
All right, this looks good to me. Want to get a shot of that? Woo!
Well, hold it up and smile at
They
it.
say eat the rainbow. So here we go. Oh, the only thing it's missing is purple cabbage. That would be purple. Or carrots. That'd be orange.
It's not beyond us to put cabbage
I
in
know.
our eggs.
Cabbage is a soothing food, so it wouldn't be the worst thing. I'm gonna put this in here.
Sauteed with other vegetables, cabbage is pretty good with eggs, I think.
We've already buttered our pan so that it doesn't stick. We tend to just use butter or olive oil for everything. And we're gonna put it in the oven and that's it. For about a half hour, it'll bake, and then I will cut it up into squares, wrap it up in plastic wrap. Not my favorite, but gets the job done. Put it in the fridge and warm it up when I'm ready to eat it.